everybody. Welcome back to Spiritual Zundayz. My name is Joan Zodianz, if you don't already know. And this week, we're going to learn more about Venus in Aquarius. So to get things started, we are just going to go a little bit over the planets. Not much has changed since last week. I mean, there are still a lot of people are still very emotional, very sensitive, and very on edge. A lot of people still want, or expect a lot out of relationships, either business, platonic, romantic. There's just this high expectation of like what they want as a person and what they're ready to commit to, right? We still have a lot of that going on. However, that's going to end soon because Venus is leaving Capricorn and transitioning into Aquarius. Now, for those of you that don't understand what Venus influences, let's just go over that real quick. Venus dictates our relationships and how we like to love and how we want love, how we perceive love. And love can take many different forms, okay? It's not all romantic and everything like that, even though that's a large part of it. It's not everything. It's all different types of love, all different types of relationship, love and hate, okay? So there's always going to be that balance with Venus. Now, it going into Aquarius means a lot of things. It's leaving serious, very disciplined, very rigid, very, high expectations, high standards of Capricorn. And it's going into more, relaxed Aquarius, where Aquarius likes to see things from multiple perspectives, but it's also a fixed air sign, meaning people are going to be more stuck or stubborn on their personal beliefs, but they're going to be more considerate, when it comes to other people's beliefs. They might try to include it or adopt it into their ways if it makes reasonable sense. Now, Aquarius is a very logical zodiac sign. It's not an emotional zodiac sign. Okay, this is the water bearer, meaning that they're the ones holding thoughts and ideas and feelings, and they're studying it. They're observing it. They're more calculating, in a way, but not in a mischievous or manipulative kind of way. It's more of just like, we're just going to go with the flow of things and we'll see what comes out. We'll put our theories to the test kind of people. Now, what does this mean for you? It can mean a few things. If you've been really on edge, or relationships haven't been working out for you. I've seen a lot of people lose a lot of good relationships or even bad relationships, you know what I mean? And having an Aquarius who's a more friendlier sign, a more accepting and an understanding sign, you might regain some of those relationships and see it from a higher perspective versus, being so critical or being so negative in the way that you think about relationships. So moving forward, having that codependency on a relationship. Let me rephrase myself. Capricorn is not codependent. Capricorn likes to control relationships. Okay, this is the motto of I use. Aquarius, on the other hand, is the motto of I know. So you're going from I use to I know. Somebody, a zodiac sign that is very resourceful, Capricorn being a user in some kind of ways, and not always in a negative way. So when we think of Capricorn, we're not thinking about them using people too much, but they can be very resourceful when it comes to people. Like, they will use people to their benefit. Right? And you may have experienced that with people recently, where you just feel like they're taking advantage of you, or you were taking advantage of them, or you guys had a mutual relationship where you both benefited each other. Okay. Now with Aquarius, I know it's more of like, okay, let's get down to business and figure out what we both know. What do we all know so that we can put it all in this, the cup, because they're a water bearer, putting it all into this jug or whatever you guys want to put the pool of thoughts and emotions into. And let's observe it from a different perspective, from a higher perspective, so that everybody benefits from it. Aquarius is a very fair and very, what's the word for it? Like, they love justice, they love equality. It's a very humanitarian sign, right? Equal rights kind of zodiac sign. And again, they're not very emotional. They're more of just like, let's all try to come together and play mediator for each other, okay? Now, something else to keep in mind, Mercury is still in Pisces, but it will go retrograde around the 6th of March. Okay, Venus is moving from Capricorn into Aquarius around March 1st, March 2nd, depending on your time zone. When Mercury goes into retrograde, you're going to see a lot of backwards thinking, right? And this can affect things, but we'll wait to talk more about that next week. Right now, let's just focus on how we're going to move forward with people, especially if you have a lot of burnt bridges or you feel like you have a lot of burnt bridges with people. If you don't feel that way, then you could be the one burning bridges. But honestly, if you have a lot of earth or water in your birth chart or your natal chart, okay, you're going to find that during the time of February was actually a very productive time for you. Versus if you had more air and water or air and fire, you may have found that it was more challenging, more difficult in February for you to move on, okay? But March is going to go in a different kind of transition. Now, this is the last week of February, and I said in my last podcast that I would pull some cards for you guys to kind of get you in the right mindset, okay? If you didn't plant your intention under the Virgo full moon that just passed on the 19th, then you kind of missed out. It's not that you can't do it anymore. You can always change your intent. But for people that did, hopefully you saw things blossoming because you've been nurturing those needs of yours. I definitely have seen a difference, especially with me and my hubby. And if you guys saw my IGTV, I shared a full moon ritual for people who are in a relationship. So if you haven't caught that, you can catch it on my Instagram page. Now, that definitely worked out for the both of us because we are both making a lot of productive and progressive changes in our lives that are helping our relationship, but also our personal individual needs in our career or our business. You get what I'm saying? Now, it's not too late for you to, backtrack on yourself or reflect on yourself, not backtrack, reflect on yourself and kind of move in a better direction for yourself. It's never too late for that, okay? So let's go ahead and just pull 3 cards and we're going to just give some spiritual advice for people. So immediately 3 cards have jumped out. I see the 5 of Chalices, which is the card of disappointment, rejection. I see the 7 of Swords, okay, which is the card of multiple ideas, it's more multiple ideas, but they can either be negative or positive. It just depends. And in this case, it looks more negative because we see the 5 of Chalices next to it. And then we have the Justice card, right? So the Justice card, again, is about being equal to one another. It's about fairness. It's also about business or legal obligations, okay? You might have to be more responsible with the new month coming up, okay? And it makes sense because, in America, it's the whole tax season type of bullshit. And it's not to say that we need to, solely focus on that. It's more of just organizing our lives so that it's more efficient for us, but then also that we're being fair to ourselves and fair to other people, especially in our sacred circle, like our people closest to us, right? I like to call it a sacred circle. Now, it is time to be productive, though, with your thoughts and ideas. 7 of Swords, multiple thoughts. You have to ground your ideas, right? You can't just keep dreaming. You have to legalize it, right? Because you have the Justice card there, which is the sign of, it's a card of stronger commitments. It's also the card for like businesses. So if you've been thinking about doing a business or having a business, this could be a good time for you to kind of put yourself out there, right? Or to at least start planting the seeds, if anything. But you have to be careful for the 5 of Chalices. This tells me that there are still a lot of people, and I said this earlier, there's still a lot of people holding on to emotional baggage. Okay, you're holding on to things that, and this is a very difficult year for people. Like, it's the year of emotional change for a lot of people. We have to stop thinking of old ways because we are going into more modern thinking, you know? It's a huge shift of energy that is pushing everybody to make better decisions, mostly here in America too. It's crazy what's happening, but we're not going to get into that. Okay, that's not what this channel is for. You personally will have to kind of pick up this energy and kind of just either go with the flow of things, okay, or be bum rushed by this energy, or take control of this energy and kind of, manipulate it in a way that benefits you. So I have been harping about it for the longest time now, since the beginning of this year. But honestly, if you have not built your intention up, if you have not, if you're still going through a hard time with relationships, especially, remember that Venus in Capricorn put a lot of pressure on people to kind of commit to things that they may not be ready for. Okay, so when Venus goes into Aquarius, you really have to be mindful of other people and not be so selfish. Okay, it's not the time to be selfish. It's the time to really think about how it benefits people in a loving and healthy way. If you are a toxic person, you're going to have to sit down with yourself and say, why are you like this? You know what I'm saying? And if you've been dealing with a toxic person or toxic people, then you may have to remove yourself from that kind of situation. Remove yourself from people that do you harm, or if you're the one causing harm, you need to stop that bullshit. Okay, stop it. Because especially when we see the Justice card out there, when we see the Justice card, it can literally mean justice. If you have been fucked up to people, and I know you've been seeing shit like that in the news where people have just been fucking lying and saying all this extra shit, and now justice is coming in and, taking them away. Hopefully in March we get to see more of that. And also beware that there's heavier punishment looming around in March as well. That's one I'm also picking up. So be careful for that. Be a good person this upcoming month, and also write that into your intentions, not to get in trouble, not to get into legal trouble. Okay? So that's basically all that I have for this podcast here. I will see you guys on my Instagram live at 11:30 because I'm going to be going up with one of the Earth Guides, and we're going to talk about inner demons and how to resolve them, or how to deal with food addictions, or basically nutrition, and how it can heal the spirit or damage the spirit. I have had a battle with food myself, and having a healthy relationship with food was always difficult for me because I've struggled with eating disorders when I was growing up. So that's also triggering too. If you're not into that stuff, then don't watch it. So I love you guys so much. I will see you next weekend for another episode. And if you've been supporting all my work, then I really appreciate it and love you guys.